Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to another club debate brought to you by Super 6. I am here with, obviously, my co-hosts Rory and Buvey, but also the legendary OGs, regulars on the club, Flav and Miles. Thank you very much to both of them for joining us. We've got loads to speak about today, loads to get stuck into. And today we're discussing, first, the race for the top 4. This is where I finally come in. Last time we were talking about title races and all that, like anyone cares. We'll be going through all the contenders for top 4 today and trying to decide who we think will make it at the end of the season. Before we get stuck into that, how's everyone doing? Everyone all right?
Good. I'm slightly put off by your intro.
Why?
I don't think Manchester United are in this bit.
No, neither way.
Whoa.
That's why you're the host, Adam.
Yeah, that's why you're hosting. You're the mediator, and
Let
us
everyone
four
else
are going to
chat, mate.
debate.
Scored a few goals, have we?
Scored a lot of goals. Scored a lot of goals, actually. Yeah, there's a spring in my
Finally
step.
got a point.
Yeah, only the 8 in 2 games, mate, against the top 2.
Yeah, you're suddenly interested in football again.
Mate, I was slightly cynical and slightly scorned, but we're back. And now you're all scared. Look, I can see Miles terrified there. Look, he actually looks scared.
Ooh.
Look, I can see the fear in his eyes.
We'll save Chelsea to last for some reason. We will start with Tottenham,
Brilliant.
Flav. Started off, we're looking at potentially title contenders, a quarter of the season through. Maybe that discussion's fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
Your fixtures between now and Christmas, you're sitting in 4th at the moment. You got Villa at home, City away, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, Forest away, and then Everton at home.
Nil points.
Nil points.
Nil points. Nil points.
That's tough.
Nil wins anyway.
That's tough.
What are we thinking, Flav?
What's
Oh,
that?
no, there is no issue, really. I mean, there's a reason why we're...
There's no issue. There's definitely an issue, isn't there?
There's nothing to get worried about, right? In terms of a top 4 conversation, there's nothing really to worry about at this stage. If you look at the reason why we performed so poorly against Wolves wasn't necessarily because Tottenham were failing or a failing football club. It was purely because we're in an unprecedented situation. I'm sure we're going to come on to Newcastle, but they're getting a lot of grace for their injuries. No one talks about Spurs' injuries. Apparently, it's Spursy what's happening at Tottenham at the moment.
Yeah.
With nine first-team players out. That's not Spursy. That's an issue.
It's not quite true that the injuries are the reason that you were done for at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yes, it was true.
It isn't quite true.
Yes,
no, you were winning the game in the 90th minute. That's just it. Doesn't matter what 11 are
1-0
out
up,
there.
man.
If
Yeah,
we were
1-0 up in the last minute.
Yeah,
You're 1-0 up against Wolves.
You're literally
In the
winning.
89th
You're literally
minute.
winning the
Come on.
game in the 90th.
Hang on a second. This hasn't happened a million times before in the Premier League.
To you.
Yeah,
late
to
goals.
Spurs.
maybe.
That's the
Spurs
thing.
does.
To you.
That's why it's called Spursy.
But it isn't. It's not Spursy, is it? It's an injury crisis. That's
It is
what it is.
Spursy.
No, I do agree with you though, Flav.
Thank you.
I do
It's an
find it
injury
weird the talk they're having about Newcastle. Oh my God, they've got a few players
Yeah,
out.
they're
Meanwhile,
injured.
some of us,
With
United included, have
with-
been absolutely crippled by
with Tottenham. Look, it's all very well to talk about the injuries, and they're going 4 players out. Hang on a minute, 4 players out. That's because
Well,
2 of
9.
your players were filth, right? So it's about discipline.
Facts.
So it's not you weren't unlucky to lose Udogie. You weren't unlucky to lose Romero.
No,
you
you're
were
right.
filth,
You're
and
cor-
therefore you paid the penalty.
Correct. Those 2 were red
Phil.
cards, and we deserved that. I agree. It's not. That's less the issue. Madison and Van der Ven. Huge problems. Huge problems. And the conversation around Spurs wasn't really about us winning the league. It was all tongue in cheek. That was never going to happen because it would require.
We did
us
discuss this in the last debate. That the squad was the thing that would probably come up short.
Any kind of injuries to significant players would mean that we suddenly look very shallow, and that's where we're at. Because lo and behold, this is the start of Postecoglou's reign at Tottenham. He's had 11, 12 games under his reign. It's too early to judge. It's not a conversation. The fact that we're even having a conversation about top 4, it means we're ahead of where we should be, in my opinion.
There's been a lot of criticism about the way you played, particularly being 9 men down against Chelsea. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think it's a style of play that could, in the long term, bring a title with you being so maybe open? Some might say naive. I like watching it, but
Yeah, but I mean, it's naive. You could have sat back and done what Conte would have done, which would have been a low block for 35 minutes and eventually waited for Chelsea to score. Instead, we had a go. And for me, that's the way football should be played. Like, be brave, be bold. And we were actually in a situation, I know what you're going to say already, because we've had this conversation about Spurs being naive, but that naivety led us to a position where we might have actually got a point, nay, 3 points.
I think you're right, and I do understand, particularly a Tottenham fan. You are always going to believe that the game should be played in that expansive way, and if there's a fan base in the country that are going to appreciate the way that Postecoglou decided to set up after the setbacks, it's going to be Tottenham, but against the opposition. So in principle, I don't necessarily disagree with it, but against Chelsea this season, who have been very good when we've played bigger teams. We've been very good when we've played teams towards the top of the
Underrated
league.
for sure.
But we've been very poor. We've really struggled with teams that sit back. So you have to navigate this decision making for the opposition. So if you're playing, I don't know, maybe Manchester United, you go expansive. If you're playing Chelsea, teams that have sat back against Chelsea have beaten us. We've lost to Forest. Remember, Forest struggle away from home. They beat us at Stamford Bridge because they sat back.
Yeah.
Villa beat us at Stamford Bridge. They sat back. Brentford beat us at Stamford Bridge because they sat back.
I understand how lesser teams get points against good teams. I get it. I understand like a low block is the best way to do it. It just in this instance, it's much more important to build this ideology that this is the way we play. We never sit back. We will always go for the jugular. And if success comes for it, what a story that will be. And if it doesn't, then we're in the exact same position.
Too predictable.
Wouldn't you say that's bad management though? Because the Premier League, you're going to have to adapt to the Premier League. Obviously, he's got his own playing style, and we understand that. You stick to your morals, you stick to your guns, but at the same time, sometimes you got to sit back and hit teams on the counter, and you have the players to do that. You had Son, you have Kulusevski, you have different players to do that. So I think personally, if Tottenham did sit back, even with
a low
10
block with
men,
9 men, it guarantees absolutely nothing. And that's certainly against Chelsea.
You're actually in the game as well.
you was
You
in
were
the
in the game with a low
Yeah.
block.
No, but that
3-2
was because
up.
of the way they
a
played,
high
right?
line again. You know how you said
It wasn't a high line,
A
it
low
was
block
something else.
guarantee. A low
Yeah.
block guarantees nothing. But a high line with Eric Dyer defending on the halfway line does guarantee you
Yes.
something. Guarantees
No,
you
but
a
they were
battery.
also Eric Dyer scored 2-2, which was ruled out. I know.
Yeah,
But they were in it up until that point.
Bentancur had a he's literally on the line and he should have
Yeah.
scored. That would have been 3-2 Tottenham.
Do you know what's
I'd
interesting
much
about?
rather die on my
But you got to
feet
do
than
it in
live off
moments, though. You got to do it in spells.
There's a little bit of
Hasn't
a rewriting of history here. It's as if Tottenham were winning the game. It was all going really well for Tottenham. Tottenham were the best team on the pitch, and the sendings off and the injuries are what changed it. That isn't the game. Between Tottenham scoring their first goal and the sending off in that period, Chelsea had 70% possession and the ball in the back of the Tottenham net 3 times.
Yeah, Chelsea was good.
That shocked you,
Like,
didn't it, Adam? I saw shock in your face. You
No, Chelsea was good.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
glad you knew that.
Yeah.
Can I just to draw a line in under the way Spurs play? This is the way we're going to play, and it's much more important than the 3 points lost against Chelsea to not in the face of adversity just abandon everything he's taught these players in the first half of the season. I'd much rather see what he did
See,
against Chelsea.
this is where
At the start of his time at Spurs, that is much more
Go on,
important.
Miles.
I just don't think I don't think that's abandonment though. There's man management and there's managing the game yourself as players. I know if your gaffer's saying high line, and like I said, I think it comes down to the gaffer. You don't have to have a high line with 9 men. Sometimes you got 2 banks of 4 or 4 and a 3.
Just be pragmatic.
Yeah,
Work
you
with
have
what,
to.
yeah,
you
play
have
the
to
cards
sit
you're
in.
dealt.
It's the Premier League. It's not Championship football. It's League One, respectfully. This is top tier football.
It's about-
Eventually, they might have scored. Chelsea might have scored if you sat back.
Yeah, he would have done.
Understandable. But
It's about the message to the players, though. That in the long run is
But
going
don't
to be
the
much more
players sit in the
important.
dressing room going?
That was mental.
That was
Yeah, that
mental.
was mental.
Maybe, but that's the way Postecoglou wants them to play, and that is the be all and end.
I'll tell you what is guaranteed now. 2 things. Chelsea will finish above Tottenham. In fact, by Christmas Day, Chelsea will be above Tottenham in the
We're
league.
not having that, are
By
we? How
Christmas
many
Day-
points is it?
By
Someone check
Christmas,
that.
7. It was nearly 17.
But
at
that'll
one
be down
point.
to our
Hang on,
that'll be down to our injury
just to
crisis,
demonstrate this,
not down to
it
the
could've gone
qualities in the squad.
It could have gone 17.
Yeah, but you can't really.
It's suddenly down to 10.
Yeah,
right,
but
7 points in a space of a week.
Can I
practically.
just remind you where you said we'd finish at the start of the season? Now you're saying, we might catch Spurs.
No. Where
the
I said
start-
you'd finish at the start of the
It was like
season
10.
is where you'll finish.
No, when your assumptions
Yeah.
that you were so clear. This is the thing, right? It's okay to make these wild predictions months in advance.
Not wild. It's accurate, in fact.
Months in advance. The fact is that the reality is
You're
at the
10
start-
points difference
at the
at the
start of
moment,
the, and that
By
doesn't
Christmas
feel
Day.
honestly that
Stay.
doesn't as it
which
sounds
gives
that,
you about 6 games.
Christmas Day.
that doesn't feel
when everyone's eating their turkey,
Christmas Day.
Rory will be laughing
The
at Flav.
referee will blow the whistle, the full-time whistle, on Christmas Eve, disgracefully, at Molineux. Chelsea will elevate themselves over
Wait,
Tottenham.
one
We'll leap for
second.
Tottenham.
We have to touch on this. Thoughts on Christmas Eve football?
Hate it. Passionately, aggressively, like violently. Hate it.
You wouldn't go?
You can't get. It's so tricky to get home. Say we're playing Arsenal or Tottenham or something a little bit more accessible. I'd consider it. Christmas Day, Christmas Eve's good drink and that, but I don't think I'd fancy going to Molineux. You know, it's tricky.
Yeah,
so tricky.
it's a bit of a sticky.
Boxing
It's a
Day
bit-
football's the one as well.
It's just totally thoughtless. Just another example of the match going fans being totally disregarded.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed. When else are we supposed to do our Christmas shopping now?
Exactly. I'm going to have to be a bit organised now. I'm actually going to have to get to Hamleys in like December, not the 24th. This is weird. Yeah.
Obviously, we touched on Spurs there. Before we move on to the rest, are we kind of taking it as a given? City, Arsenal are in the top 4, obviously.
Yes.
Liverpool, do they have to be in this conversation?
Yes.
Or will they get top
of
4?
course.
No, they will 100% get top 4 Liverpool.
Yeah. 100%. I think Liverpool's going for the league.
Yeah.
They're not
agreed.
thinking about top 4 anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
See, I
You don't
think they're one of the
Okay.
challengers for the league. I think that, potentially. But I also think there's as much a chance of them winning the league as there is finishing outside the top 4.
I know what you're saying.
Because if you look at their midfield, I don't think McAllister's quite settled in the deeper role they're asking him to play. Endo isn't being used. If that midfield doesn't work and Darwin I know he scores goals, but continues to miss those big chances in big moments, etc., there's a chance they do fall further down into the battle.
Even if the midfield doesn't run, even if your prediction, or not even prediction, your suggestion that it just doesn't land as it needs to in the second half of the season, they've got so many goals in that team they get out of jail. I don't think there's a debate as to whether they finish 4th. I think the debate is, do they finish 1st, 2nd, or 3rd? But they 100%. There's no doubt in my mind that they make top 4. And so whether they finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, we can debate.
I mean, they drew with Luton.
Yeah, they just beat Brentford and they were very good in that game. And I think their ability to beat sides in the bottom half. Yeah, their ability to beat sides in the bottom half of the table is better than everyone's except City's, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think they struggle against a couple of the promoted sides. Like last season, they struggled against promoted sides, but then also they can blow sides away at Anfield. Any single side.
But I predict they will finish, but I do think I have that where you never know. This could blow up.
The reason why I don't say that for Liverpool, yeah, you mentioned a good point with their midfielders and their depth within midfield. And I can only compare them to Arsenal at the moment because we're similar. Obviously, Man City's going to be there. But the one thing that they have over Arsenal is Jurgen Klopp. And I can't go against him. Obviously, last season happened. I think that was a blip for them. But this season, I think he's got enough.
Also,
he's got more than enough in
just
attack.
Goals, isn't
Salah's
Just
having
goals.
an underrated season.
Salah's unreal.
He's top 3 players in the world.
It's
Simple as that.
like they're definitely there. I think where they are now, looking at over what we'll be in 12 games in now, going to the 13th game, international break. They're saying, boy, they I don't think they expected to be the way they are right now with this midfield without not getting a midfielder in last day of transfer season.
In terms of a front three, they've probably got the best front three in the Premier League.
Except City, obviously.
No.
I think they've got a better.
Haaland's a better striker.
I think
Bernardo Silva's a better player, and you got Doku.
Who they got the best front three? What?
You're not happy
No,
about
I think hang on, Flav's
Salah-
on
Salah
something
Diaz-
here. Flav's
Salah-
on something here.
Salah, Diaz, and Nunes.
Diaz hasn't been the same player as he was. I know there's possibly other reasons for that.
Hang on, Salah, Diaz.
Look, I'm-
look at them
Salah
all.
is amazing.
Salah,
I'm on about
Diaz,
the rest.
Jota. Like if you look at
three.
the attack,
Yeah.
Look at the attack as a whole.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
don't think you
Second.
your reaction
you all
wasn't
reacted to Flav like he said
I
something
think-
insane.
I
Flav
think-
said
what,
something-
City's
I think
front three
we're
are better
either
unit.
we're insane or
insane.
they.
It is insane.
Theirs is as good.
It's not.
I
I just
think
think
Spurs is as good.
it's
It's
just
just
like
with
the
our
best
front
I
force
think
in the
it's got the
league.
best front line. And
I don't think
We
it's
full
want
line.
to trouble with our front three.
Best strikers in the league. There's nothing wrong with
Why
that.
don't they win a trouble with their front three then?
But it's not as it's not an offensive
You've
statement.
got a
At
better
the moment, it's
midfield
the
and a
best
better
front three.
defence. You've
And
got a
you've got
better
Doku
midfield
to
and
supplement
defence.
that.
You can't have
Doku in
everything
there as well.
You think it's best front
I think Liverpool's got the best firepower in the league right now.
Yeah.
As a collective.
Look at
As a
him like he was
collective.
mad there.
You got
As a
Nunes
collective,
fucking
this is
can't
what
even
happens.
hit a
It's
bar
really
in the
there.
But they got people like Jota who comes off the bench and scores.
Jota.
What do you mean? Jota comes off the
We've
bench
got
and scores
Alvarez,
for fun.
Haaland, Foden,
City have
Grealish,
got the
Doku.
best defense.
It's
Attack, sorry.
Yeah, City's got the best attack. You've got the best all-round squad.
Well, you
obviously,
just said-
but
Yeah, you just
No,
said
City, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Forget Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool.
In
City got the best
terms
attack.
of firepower. In terms
Mars
of
arguing
firepower.
Haaland's the best striker.
Yeah.
No, you've got a lot. You've got the best squad. You've got the
That's
best
what I
team.
said,
You've
that's
undoubtedly got the best 11.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lot of your goals will come from brilliant midfielders.
Yeah.
Whereas,
But Haaland's in that front three
whereas
discussion.
Liverpool,
Yeah.
as just an
But
attacking
Doku
threat.
and Haaland play for them.
You take
Salah's-
If you
Salah's
Haaland
the
down the
only
middle,
one that gets
Salah,
into
if
City.
Salah, Haaland, Grealish.
Haaland
That's
over
front three.
Nunes, but Diaz and Salah are my wingers.
Salah's the only one that gets Doku.
No,
No,
he's
Doku,
played
man.
6
But
games.
Grealish starts, doesn't he?
But Diaz had a
Grealish
great
starts
start
for
to the Prem.
Liverpool.
What's he done since then?
Done a lot. But it's good.
Who's won the
He's not
Super
bad.
I
Good
trust
player.
Jota more than Doku. 100%. He's been doing it in the Premier League. He's been doing it for
Doing
years.
what?
What do you mean?
He's
Doing
been-
scoring
honestly,
goals.
he's a
Jota's-
name.
Jota's class.
No,
Jota's
he's
a good
name.
player.
You
People
got
like to throw in
Doku,
Jota to the
Grealish,
base.
Foden.
Give me a big goal Jota scored. Big goal now. Come on. They
What do you
can't
mean?
do
He
it.
scores
Quiet
brilliant
in the pub.
Give me
It's
one-
quiet in
give
the
me one
pub.
Doku scored.
This
Come on.
pub for years has been loud every single day of its existence. Yeah. Now
Give me
it's
one
quiet.
Doku
I say,
scored.
what has Jota done? He's done nothing.
Give me
mate.
one Doku
That's-
scored.
He's decent.
That's
He's
ridiculous.
stat pads.
That's ridiculous. I mean,
Nah, he's not stat
Jota
pads. He's
in the
crazy.
air is
unreal.
like-
Right, we're getting caught in a debate. That's another debate. We'll do that next time. Yeah. So we're kind of all agreeing Liverpool are in the top 4. So that's why we're not discussing Liverpool.
I think there's
Arsenal,
only one
City at the
place up
moment.
for grabs, really. Isn't
Yeah.
There's,
Well,
only,
no,
there's one place up
because
for
Man
grabs,
United
unless
are
it's top
taking it.
5. Unless the coefficient goes England's way, which is looking like it will.
But
There'll
Is that
be
not,
two.
is
Can
that not
that change?
guaranteed? The
I
top
think it's
5?
virtually
Yeah,
guaranteed.
but United are struggling. No
No, but
banter.
it's
You're
built up.
struggling
It's
in the
built up over
coefficient.
years.
Our
Newcastle
coefficient
struggling.
is class.
Buvey.
No, I'm saying you will affect our coefficient.
No.
As
Our coefficient's class because of us. We get to Europa League finals a lot.
No, it's Chelsea
lose.
and City.
I don't think
Chelsea and City are holding the fort on the
But I
coefficient.
don't think teams and managers are thinking.
It's Chelsea and City, honestly.
How
Yeah.
wild.
You know when
Spurs
clubs like
got to a
Tottenham-
final, didn't it? Doesn't that
That'd
not
be
count
too
then?
long ago.
Oh, right, it doesn't
It's too
count.
long ago.
So that literally doesn't
Literally
count.
doesn't.
Oh,
Their
right, okay.
final should still count.
No, it's too long.
You're
ago.
welcome.
It's
Isn't it last
2019.
5 years?
Yeah.
Coefficient's working on 5 years.
You're not going on about Inter Milan again, are you, Flav?
Right, we're getting caught up in something else. Let's talk about Aston Villa.
Yeah, amazing.
Aston Villa, Unai Emery, 5th place, 25 points at the moment.
They got
Incredible.
Fenton.
Do you know they've won 13 home
Finton.
games in a row?
So hang on a minute. Can I just
They've
ask you a
won
question?
13 home games in a row.
Well, it's
They've
incredible. It's incredible for Aston Villa what they're doing, right? But Spurs are above them, right? And we didn't lose 2-0 to Nottingham Forest.
They're playing
This is
European
the
football.
Aston Villa section.
They're playing European
Why are you making
football.
this about
Yeah,
Spurs?
but-
But the narrative.
And they play you next.
Yeah.
So I'd be careful what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say.
I'll be very
You
careful.
know, they're a good team. I
Smash
rate
you
them.
lot,
I'm
man.
just
In fact,
saying.
don't
I
be
just
careful.
notice the change in narrative when it's about Spurs and not about Aston Villa. Oh, plucky Aston Villa! Look how good they are.
They were in the
When it comes to
championship a few years
Spurs,
ago.
it's like,
You spent billions of pounds.
Huh?
They were in the championship a few years ago. Their turnaround's been incredible. You've got a fancy new stadium. You're meant to be one of the biggest clubs in the richest city in Europe. Do you know what I
Also,
mean?
they're not playing one game a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. They went
you
to
gotta
AZ
take that into
Alkmaar.
consideration.
They went to AZ Alkmaar, won, came back in the Premier League and
And
won.
one.
all right, go on
You
then.
rested
That'd
for
be too
6
much for
days.
Spurs. That'd be too much for
Carry on
Spurs.
then.
You
You
rested
lose, you lose to AZ.
They're brilliant, Villa. I think Unai Emery is
they're good, man.
undoubtedly the best manager out of the obvious. Pep Guardiola in a league of their
A
own.
lot of people say third.
Unai Emery is the next best manager in the
Take
league.
him
Better
United.
than Ten Hag, better
Not
than
right now,
Pochettino.
no.
Like no bias attached. Better than Ten Hag, better than Pochettino, better than
You wouldn't take him
Arteta.
at United
Style
now.
of play reason, same as Arsenal.
right now.
It wouldn't work.
You
Same
would.
as Arsenal.
I mean,
But sorry,
You
go
definitely
on.
take him.
No, I wouldn't.
you
You've
must.
got to.
I wouldn't.
You've lost more games than you've won,
I wouldn't.
but you must.
Bro,
You've got to.
But I'm
I
telling you,
think
you
you would,
must.
Adam.
You have to.
Bro, I wouldn't.
But you have to.
But I wouldn't.
But
But
Ten
it's
Hag,
not. It's
There's
a
a reason.
rhetorical
You
question.
don't get involved in this conversation because you like hounded him out of your club.
yeah, he wasn't good enough for us.
So,
No, but he was good.
He was good
He was
enough.
good enough.
He
for
was
you.
good enough.
Hang on a
The
minute.
standards have
You
dropped
know,
for you.
no,
No,
but he was.
you're
You
bottom of
just
your champ- you're below
you got rid of him and
Copenhagen.
finished eighth twice.
Yeah,
You'd
you
be
are
above
still-
Copenhagen right now.
Look at us now, 4 years later.
Did he compete for a league?
But he would have
Compete for a
done. He
league.
probably would have done eventually.
He
last
had you
season.
in a European final.
Yeah, that's fine.
Arsenal's pitiful record in Europe. He had you
And
in
we
a
lost.
European. He had you in a
And we
Europe.
lost
He had you
miserably.
fifth in the league and
Azerbaijan.
in a European final. Fifth in the league in a European final. You sacked him. He came back the following year with Villarreal, battered Arteta,
me ask you-
launched you out of Europe,
Let me ask him a question.
launched you out of
And then
Europe.
beat Man United in the final.
How
Won
many-
the trophy, and while Arsenal finished 8th twice,
How many-
losing to Burnley at home and all that.
That's amazing. How many finals has Arteta lost?
He's only been in one.
And what's his record?
You're not going to do finals
What's
with
his
Emery
record?
versus Arteta, surely.
No, I'm just talking about
You're
for
not-
my club.
You're not doing
No, no,
Emery.
no,
You're
no,
not
no,
doing
no, no,
finals.
I'm
You're not
just
doing
saying.
finals versus
his-
Emery Arteta,
No,
are
no,
you?
no, no. I'm just saying
You
for
were
his
about to. I should let you do that.
For his club, he might be great right now for his club. Arsenal, obviously.
why are you
for
trying to
Arsenal-
push him onto
I'm
us,
just saying for
man?
Arsenal, it didn't work. It didn't work for
He
us.
shouldn't be
Arsenal-
pushed anyway. He's a
better
great
than
manager.
He's a
Ten
great
Hag. Better than
manager.
Ten Hag.
I
No, but
honestly think he's better than Arteta, but
Yeah.
he just didn't work for us at that present moment of time. He just didn't work for
There is
Arsenal.
true.
for what it is.
In what Miles is saying, there is that. Some managers can be brilliant managers, but just not fit at a club.
Yeah, he didn't fit.
And
Yeah,
maybe
that's
that's
what
an
I
argument.
said.
No, but he fits at
He
United.
fit
No, he
United.
doesn't.
Well, he
He
fits
does, he
better
fits
than
at
Ten
United.
Hag. If
He's
Ten
better
Hag
than
fits,
Ten
he
Hag.
He fits at United.
You
He
might
fits
as
like
well
a
try.
glove.
He
He
fits-
fits like a silk glove.
He's a
This ain't
silk
about
glove.
Ten
Oh,
Hag.
man, it's like Cinderella with that slipper at Man
Yeah,
United.
he'd
He
fit
fits
right in.
perfectly.
We're talking about
He
Aston
fits
Villa.
perfectly.
He's a
She
winning
wakes up,
manager.
man.
He's
You
a
put
winning
that
manager.
slipper. You put
So
that
Ollie
slipper on Man
Watkins.
United, and they wake up.
Ollie Watkins?
What about him?
Yeah, he's quality. He's quality. Villa are probably the most fun team to watch as well. High line.
Oh, they are good to watch.
Amazing on the break.
The fella that signed from Leverkusen good as a Diaby.
Yeah,
what
Diaby.
player.
And McGinn is that most underrated midfielder.
He's
in
proper good.
Douglas Luiz scored in
Dougie
like
Luiz,
7
brilliant.
games in a
Dougie
row
Luiz,
at Villa
he's
Park. I
quality,
think he
man.
beat Juan Pablo Angel's record or something mad like that.
They've got a very good team, you know.
Yeah,
Like, if you go to Villa and you're not on it,
and a brilliant
you
manager.
could be 3-0 down
But
within.
I've got a couple of mates
30
that are
minutes.
Villa fans, and I've never seen them this giddy. Like they are buzzing.
Oh, yeah.
They are
Do-
buzzing.
what is it then? It's it's interesting because we're speaking about Villa. We're all very complimentary. We're all fully acknowledging their brilliance this season, and yet I imagine none of us think they make top 4.
I do think they make Europa League though.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But
Yeah.
that's not the question. Like, you
They'll
don't think they
finish
make
above United.
They could be if they finish 5th though. Could be Champions League.
Okay,
It's a
let's go
position
round.
of-
Buvey, do Villa make top? Do Villa
This is
play in the
supposed to be at
Champions
the
League
end
next?
of the
Any
video.
old way, do Villa play in the Champions League next year?
If it's fifth potentially, yeah, but not top four.
Not to fall. I think they need to drop out of Europe early. If they have a chance.
But that could be
But
their
that's
way
the
in.
Arsenal
That could be
mentality.
their way
That's
in.
the Arsenal
Yeah, if they win
mentality.
it-
See?
no,
Yeah, that's the
they have-
Arsenal.
That's the Arsenal mentality.
Aston
Also
Villa, Aston
Conference
Villa
League,
win
it's
European finals, unlike you, mate.
Yeah, that's the Arsenal mentality. That is actually. the
Was you
Arsenal
born to see that there, Buvey?
None of us here were, except Flav, maybe.
Absolutely throwing you under the bus there, bro.
He's just caught us straight there.
Said
Just
you're-
sitting there. He's just having a sip of
Said you're
Guinness.
a lot. Was it
Yeah,
84?
nothing to do with that.
80, was it 84?
Oh, sorry, Flav.
Sorry, my son.
Is he right?
What?
82.
84?
wasn't it?
Yeah.
82?
Yeah, 84.
Whiff and them mans? That was his name, wasn't it?
Okay.
Look, Villa don't get in the top four because Spurs do, but it's about perspective. And a great season for Villa is
Villa finish above Spurs.
And United.
And
Not
Chelsea.
United.
I just
United
cannot
finishing fourth
understand
and
this-
Newcastle.
This level of disrespect. Do you remember that we were top of the league literally just 2 days?
I mean, it
ago?
happened with Nuno
And
Espirito Santo. I mean,
Yeah, you're top of the league
You're
then
top
as
with
well.
Mourinho.
Weren't you
Yeah,
top,
you're
of,
top
weren't you
with
top of the
Mourinho.
league for nearly a
Conte?
year? Over 2 years, you were the most successful team in the country. That's a good one.
remember that? Over this calendar year.
Do you know what the best thing about this is? Is that Spurs are under the radar again.
Why
Everyone's
have
written
we
us
gone
off.
back to Spurs?
Why are you
Under
bringing
the
it? Because
radar.
I'm being attacked for no reason.
We're talking about
Why
Aston
would you
Villa
sit in
finishing
it?
above Man United.
No, we're not talking about Aston. We're
Aston-
talking about
that's
Aston
a good
Villa
shout,
finishing top
though.
four.
That's
A
a
great-
good shout.
Aston Villa don't
A
finish
great
above Man
season for Aston Villa is
Of course
is
they
fifth,
do. They
fifth
got a
or
better
sixth.
squad than you.
Aston Villa have had their best season ever, and we're still only 4 points behind.
They
them,
had their
isn't it,
best season ever.
This season they'll finish above
started
you.
off
They've got
well,
a better
their
squad,
best
better
season.
mentality, better set of fans as
Better
well.
manager,
better-
much better set of fans.
You should really look at Emery.
Stadium's better as well, pound for pound.
Adam, I know,
relatively speaking.
you know what it is?
Louder stadium.
Adam can't get the grips that Manchester United is in competition with Villa. That's what he doesn't like.
And Brighton.
It's the name. It's the name for Adam. Because if it was Arsenal, if it was Liverpool, we'd be like, cool. It's just Villa.
What are
But
you
you have to
about?
accept.
I like Villa. I don't
Miles
have,
is right.
I don't have an
but-
issue with
but
it.
it's your ego. Adam, look at me.
Villa are a bigger club than you,
I
so
was-
I don't
I-
mind battling with
I
them.
was there. I was
Villa are a
with you.
bigger club than you.
But-
I don't mind battling with Villa.
I'm just battling.
European Cup winners only. On this side.
I'm here.
Get out of it.
On what side? Oh, damn. 6, yeah. Oh, Flav's got one. Damn. Yeah, okay. But Villa, yeah. Let's get back to them.
Villa aren't going to finish in top 4, but I think they could push for it very
Could come
well.
fifth.
And if it becomes a 5th position, you never know. Next up, Man United. Their next fixtures: Everton away, Newcastle away, easy 6 points there. Chelsea at home,
Lose.
9 points. Bournemouth at home, 12.
Lose.
Liverpool away, that's a draw.
Lose.
West Ham away,
You
that's
get 3 points in
My-
those 9
we're looking
games.
at 16 points in our next 6 games.
If you look at the form table, Man United are actually around the top, aren't they?
We're top.
They are top, right? But the problem is
Against
they,
Luton.
So misleading, isn't it? Lynn
What
lost.
against Luton?
Lynn lost
The man
scoring
that you
winners.
said guaranteed top 4, by the way, drew with Luton,
Who are you on about?
Liverpool.
Yes.
So why are you bringing Luton? Like it's a bad thing to beat
Mate,
them.
You've just moved on to Man United. I just said
We
you
beat the
got
mighty
lucky. You got
Luton.
lucky to beat Luton Town.
You should
All
be
right.
beating Luton Town, though.
And Liverpool got what?
Fulham result
not
was
talking about
less-
Liverpool, I'm a
less
City
than-
fan.
less than satisfying.
It was a win, wasn't it?
It was a win, but
And
all of
Sheffield,
your wins
Sheffield
have been very
United.
very
Sheffield.
unconvincing, and you've been quite fortunate to get them. I think it's
No, it's
time.
mad. We haven't drawn a game.
You
I think you've lost more than you've won as well.
No, we've won more than we've lost.
No, you've lost more than you've
You're
won.
bottom of the
We've won
Champions
more than
League
we
group.
lost.
All,
You're below
all
Copenhagen.
comps, you've lost more games than you've
We've
won.
won more in all comps, possibly.
Are you below
But in the
Copenhagen
league,
in the group?
Are we what?
Are you below Copenhagen?
In what? The
In the
Premier
group.
League? No.
In the Champions League
In the
group.
Premier League.
In
They
the
don't-
Premier
they
League.
don't play in the
Are
Premier
you
League.
starting-
They're playing the Danish Super League, mate.
Adam, do you genuinely believe Ten Hag can get you to top 4 football this season?
Yeah, you know why I do think that? It's been pretty bad at the moment. But you look at it and you look at our squad. You look at the back line. We've had none of our back line. Everyone, like you said at the start, everyone's talking about Newcastle. Oh, poor injuries. We had no Luke Shaw. We had none of his replacement either in Terrell Malacia.
Yeah.
We had no Lissandro. Varane been injured for parts of it. We've had Wan-Bissaka injured for parts
Varane's
of
being
it.
overlooked as well, though.
No, recently he has, but he was injured at the start of the season as well. So
Can you
a,
can you get your head around that?
a lot of our backline. The
Did
reason
you
he
see
does,
Harry
I don't
Maguire's
agree
quotes?
with.
You
I
seen
don't
Harry
agree
Maguire?
with it. Go on.
Harry Maguire's been very full of it, as you would imagine.
Of course, he does my head in like that. But I don't agree with Varane not starting. But the reason he's done it is because he likes, it's either Maguire or Varane on one side, and then like Evans, based on what foot they play with and all that. And it's either Varane or Maguire. And because Maguire's in better form than Varane, he's picking Maguire.
Yeah, good for him.
Which I think is fair at this moment in time,
But
given the performances. But overall, generally speaking, you want to see Varane in your team. However, we've lost a lot of games. We're winning games though, and
But the games
We're
you win,
only
it's not convincing, Adam.
4 points off.
What are the
top
other
four.
games?
Oh, come on, man.
Four or
What are
five
the other
points
games?
off top
He
four.
doesn't- he's not
Sheffield
confident 4
United,
points, though, is
Luton
he?
Town,
And
Not
Fulham.
confident about it.
But how bad has it
and they
been?
should have lost to Sheffield as well.
It's been terrible.
How bad it? Like, look how bad it's been, and for us to still be in touch means you's like shit.
It's not. It's the performances, though, Adam. You can't sustain
No, the
this.
performances have been horrible.
Yeah, you can't sustain this throughout the rest of the season because they're going to come against. Who have you got? You got Everton away. That's they're
They'll
picking
beat
up
you.
form.
Dice beat.
They just beat.
They're
Dice-
picking up form.
Dice beat
we
Ten
beat them.
Hag
Bruno
with ease.
Fernandes 1-0.
You got Newcastle away, tough,
You'll-
and you
you'll
got
lose
Chelsea
that.
who's coming to form now.
You'll fold.
So your next 3 games is going to be very testing.
7 points.
Nah,
7
7 points. I think
7 points.
if anything,
Come on,
you could
man.
get 4.
Mate, that
if
would,
anything,
Man
get
City
one.
would get 7
On a
points.
serious
out of
note, though, I do think
You get 4.
if we can keep in touch between now and Christmas, maybe close that gap a little bit, and then you start to get your Lissandros and your Luke Shaws and everyone back, I think we will make a late chase for.
You need
for
to start
top four.
picking
if you
up.
make
And I
it
think there's a possibility, like everyone keeps talking about Spurs and thinking Spurs, all rosy in the garden. We finish above Spurs and we finish above
this-
Villa.
To me, this might sound a bit crazy, yeah, to you lot, but I would rather be where Chelsea is right now than be where Manchester United is because the way they're playing and their performances. So they look like they're going. Their trajectory is
I'd rather
doing
be-
this.
yeah, I'd rather
They
be
drew
Chelsea.
those games.
Yeah, but yours,
I'd rather be
Adam, you're
Chelsea.
just about winning
I
games
agree with
against the
Miles.
relegated
I agree with
teams.
Miles.
It's right.
I agree with Miles.
You're struggling against Fulham,
You're
Luton,
struggling,
and
man.
Sheffield. You struggle.
The problem
to get
is that if you get anywhere close to like a top 4, then the Ten Hag stays in his job, and you don't want.
I do want that.
nah, you don't.
You want Ten
Ten
Hag to
Hag's a
stay?
man, bro.
What, you think you
We
should
have
be
to stand
hoping
by
for
Ten Hag.
defeats?
Laying
You
out
think you
the
should be
terms.
hoping for defeats in order
need
to
to
force
stand
the
by
board
Ten
to
Hag.
sack Ten
Hag,
Hag?
get rid of him. He's
We need to
useless.
stand by Ten Hag. Trust me.
Things
Give him
need to
time.
get worse before they get
No, no,
better.
no.
You don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
it. You
yeah.
don't want him. You don't
Like
want a
them
good
lot,
season.
5th, 8th. Ooh, second.
Telling you. I told you
That's
guys.
literally
Follow our
worse,
blueprint.
better. Woo.
Follow our
That's what we're
blueprint.
gonna do.
Follow
But
our
I
blueprint.
think injuries have played a big part in what's going on at
So do you think? Where do you think Manchester United finish in the league?
4th or 5th. 4th.
Four.
I can't see it at all.
I'm an optimist. Granted,
So you believe you?
I'm more worried about
Tottenham,
Chelsea than I am
we
about
could finish
about
equally 10th.
about United.
So you get rid of Tottenham.
Much
then?
more worried about that.
I'm more worried
worry about
about Tottenham than I am Manchester United.
Don't worry
What,
about
so Tottenham come
You don't
fifth?
need to be worried about anything.
I'm more worried in terms of my club's desperation to make it into the top 4. I am more concerned about Tottenham than I am Manchester United.
So you think
Yeah, agree,
Tottenham's in your way more than
So
Manchester?
Tottenham fall out of top 4 for Man United. That's what you're saying.
yeah. In
I
my
disagree
opinion.
with that.
Do you know what it is? It's just I
Disagree with it
You
all
got
you
world
want.
class
Just,
players.
it's the performances.
I'm
man.
not.
Son's
Do you know what
world
I'm
class.
really concerned about?
Your man
Ten
from
Hag-
home and away is going to get exposed
I'm more.
real soon.
I'm really concerned that Ten Hag is. I'm concerned for you that Ten Hag's still going to be the manager there next year.
Don't
Yeah.
be concerned.
I
No,
am
I'm
worried.
concerned
I'm
about
worried about that.
Because next
No
season,
No one around this table
is
has
the
Ten Hag
season.
as their manager.
No.
for
because
as
you're
well.
all idiots.
No one wants Ten Hag.
City might take Arteta.
I know a QPR fan that when I don't even know our manager's name now, but I wouldn't have Ten Hag.
I don't think Ten Hag's better than any of our managers on this table.
No,
No.
He's not.
no.
Better than-
Tuchel's
he's better
better.
than Arteta.
He's not.
He's not better.
You're going
Arteta.
off pride,
No,
Adam,
no,
and I get it. Like I
You're
said,
going
I
off
was
when
there.
We'll
Ajax
see.
got to the semi-finals of
see.
the Champions League
And got beat by
and lost to
Tottenham.
Spurs,
By
worry.
Tottenham.
and they were winning.
Serial
Bowley's
underachievers.
gonna
Winning
come
at
through,
home
watch.
against Spurs and lost.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's saying the
I
gang.
like it. Do you know what you did there, Buvey? You achieved the impossible. You reduced Adam to mere punctuation. He didn't say words.
He
He
said,
just went like this. When you reduce someone to punctuation, you know you've won.
done
Fair
my job.
play.
I've done my job.
What you're looking at here, yeah, is not only is 4 people who had childhoods ruined, and I think that's what we have to remember in this situation. It's 4 people that are deeply scarred.
The
and
problem-
hurt
the
and
problem-
traumatized by
I'm
Man
happy. I used to
United.
watch Sean
Let me
White
tell
He
you
still
something.
wakes
down the
up
wing.
screaming,
Let-
"Oh, Andy Cole 5-3!"
Let me tell you something. It's an alarming thing when I'm indifferent to Manchester United. What does your song used to say?
Oh, you're indifferent.
Always
now.
adored. Was it?
Never ignored.
Never ignored.
Hate-
I'm now at a position where I don't even
hated,
think about
adored,
Manchester
never
United.
ignored.
Facts.
Sure.
Villa
Sure you
fans
don't.
don't care about United.
Sure they don't.
They don't. Not in the top 4
Sure
race.
you don't.
You don't want team. You don't want fans to be apathetic about your football club.
You are.
Listen,
pathetic.
I'm now, all jokes aside, I don't think it's impossible for
not
Manchester United to get it.
The joke's finished. Jokes are done.
All right,
No
all right,
more
cool.
jokes.
Well,
So serious talk. What you saying? Top 4.
nah. I
Said
don't
the
think-
jokes are finished.
Nah, you got a chance, but these
don't-
performances are just not. They're not
So you
it.
say-
Give a number,
Do you
Miles.
know,
Give
do
a
you know what
number.
could be
I love
Manchester
this.
United?
He said, watch when we get onto Chelsea and his.
Do you know what could be your best bet? Finish 3rd in the Champions League.
No. I don't want Europa League.
And win the
No.
Europa League. You win
No.
silverware.
But
It
beggars
keeps
can't be
Ten Hag
choosers.
happy.
No.
You
Beggars
get
can't
into
be
the Champions
choosers.
League. It's a great route into the
I
Champions
don't- I
League.
don't-
That's your level now.
I
though.
don't want to be in the
That
Europa
is your
League.
level.
That is your level.
That is your
No.
level.
That's your level.
You've
Champions
played
League is
more
your level.
Europa League football in the last 10 years than Champions League football. You're a Europa League club
You're a
by
Europa League
definition.
And trust me, I've been there.
I'll take it.
There's so many things I want to say about Man City right now.
I'll take that.
I'll take that.
I'll take a bit of Europa League.
It's silverware. I'll take a Europa League. I wish
Horseshoe mugs would used to haven't won a European
Yeah, I'd
trophy.
love to
God
take
knows
it.
how long.
Oh, sorry, we have.
I said
Like,
in God knows how long.
There are 4
I
clubs
said
here.
in
with-
God knows how long.
What? Yeah, but there were 4 clubs.
Were you
here
alive
with-
when you won it?
There were 4 clubs with 4 clubs with Europa pedigree. I mean, European pedigree here. Arsenal can't be included. In
Arsenal
this
won that
conversation.
same trophy more recently than you.
No, we won the. We won
Winners'
the
Cup,
They
didn't it?
won it in
What the-
'95.
City
Cup
won it as
Winners'
well.
Cup doesn't count. No
It
one
does.
counts that.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it's the
91.
modern day version, and
Mighty
also
One.
I counted. We
The-
won it.
We won it as well. We don't even
Yeah.
talk about that. We're talking about the Europa League.
Yeah, but the modern. The
No,
Cup
but that
Winners'
didn't
Cup doesn't
exist back
exist
then.
anymore.
UEFA
Yeah.
Cup, innit?
Oh,
UEFA Cup.
you're
It's
right.
the same
they won
thing.
it.
It's the
It's,
same thing.
Alan Smith scored for them.
Interfairs
Just
trophy.
Arsenal not in that
They
conversation.
beat Parma.
Parma
They
1-0.
beat Parma. Yeah,
1-0.
Zola's Parma.
Doesn't really count.
Anyway, moving on to Newcastle, who's sitting
Doesn't count.
7th on 20 points. Normally, this would be how low we get in the top 4 debate, but for some
We're not
reason,
talking about
for
Newcastle
some reason, we've
here.
squeezed a mid-table team in,
Are we
which
talking
is
about
really
Newcastle
odd.
here?
Chelsea at home next, Man United at home next. That's 3 points for
I
them
think we're
against
going to have to have a
Chelsea.
word with our producer here.
Everton
I'm
away,
surprised that we're
Spurs
talking
away, Fulham at
Newcastle.
home, Luton away. Look how they get this as well. Even our producers at it.
Yeah.
Massively injury hit.
I know.
Didn't see that for Man United.
Or did it say it for Spurs? This is Jack's doing.
Ginger.
Struggling to cope with
Mick Hucknall.
Champions League?
Money
Question
too tight
mark.
to mention.
He's an arsehole.
Yeah, but they had they had like 11 players out, though, innit?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Yeah,
can't
Yeah,
the
they
full
have.
squad.
Livramento is playing as a winger forward, so they are in
They got a
trouble.
lot of
and by
injuries.
the- you can't cope with that level of injury. There is an issue. It should be taken into consideration. And they're a much better team when they have a fully strapped squad.
What are we
Obviously,
talking about here? Chelsea or Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
They're,
Newcastle, if we're keeping this, if we're being true to the title of the video, Newcastle don't make top 4.
No.
Newcastle don't play in the Champions League
I think
next
they have
year.
a go. I think they got to try and win the League Cup, the FA Cup. That's what
Yeah,
they got to have a go at. They got to win some silverware.
I agree, but
It's been-
but there's
been-
no point in
what's it been,
discussing them.
80 years.
There is no point
80
in
years.
discussing them with regard to finishing in the top 4 because they don't.
They might. The only
They
thing
did
is
last
if they
year,
get
though, so is that not unfair?
if they get knocked out of the Champions
What-
League, which it looks like they'll get knocked out of the Champions League, they could have a run. You know, if they spend in January as well, they can outspend loads of sides in January.
they could.
Yeah,
the
they
top
can.
4 is strong this year, stronger than it was last year. It was a bit
It's
of a
hard.
mess. This year, you've got Chelsea definitely going to come back into it. Spurs will be there, and there's already Liverpool. You've got United in Europe.
Yeah, Liverpool have already taken a
Liverpool-
spot.
yeah,
they
there's
weren't
already
there
3.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so Newcastle will have to do a lot, I think.
Yeah, Newcastle, the Champions League running is going to be tough for them, and obviously they just struggled against
They even get
BVB.
through, I don't think.
Which is, yeah,
What, Europe? No, they're out.
They can get into Europa League though, right?
Yeah,
but
they're
they're
out.
They
out.
could still
That'll-
stay in the group.
That could do everyone
They're
a
not
favour.
going to.
It's
They
over.
still mathematically.
It's
You know what I
over.
mean?
They
United
they get
mathematically
beat in
could, but
Paris.
we're not.
They
Yeah,
get beat in
smashed
Paris.
by Mbappe.
But do they really want to do Thursday, Sunday football? I think that's that's more tough.
Yeah, their league position definitely takes a
Yeah,
hit.
definitely. So I think Newcastle, if anything, around 6th, they'll be fighting for 6th, 5th. If that 5th spot opens up, it'll be good for them.
I think they'll qualify for Europe. I just don't think they'll get anywhere near the Champions League.
Yeah,
If, and,
no,
and
no,
if
no.
5th is Champions League,
What,
I
you saying
don't.
10, 15 points
I'd
off?
love to see him in the conference
many?
leagues, Commerce.
I just think that what Newcastle need isn't necessarily a European run. I think what they need to do is finally win some silverware. You know, it is decades. They are so desperate for silverware. So I think that has to be the first priority. And is this wild? Do you think Eddie Howe?
I was just about to ask that question.
Do you think Eddie Howe? Do you know
Yes.
this year? It's an amazing season. In the this time last year, I think there were 6 managers sacked by this point. This year there are none. So something's. I know last year was a slightly different season. It was condensed because of the World Cup. It started early and whatever. But literally 6 versus none. So what manager is likely to be sacked? If you were to say, who do you reckon goes? You could obviously have a conversation about Vincent Kompany. I think you could probably have a conversation at Sheffield United. What's going on there? Is Wilder going to go back or whatever? After that, I think it's
Out
Howe.
of big clubs going for European positions, you're
it's
spot
Howe.
on.
No,
You're spot on.
wow.
How's it
How?
How? How's it how?
How's
That's
it
how.
No,
That's
no,
how.
no, the only reason Howe gets sacked is because the motives of their owner. On merit, that should never happen.
That should
All of the above, though. I don't
No,
think
but
it's
he's
fair.
taking that into
Yeah,
consideration,
I
right?
don't think it's fair.
All right, let's put it.
There's
different.
no one would have done a better job than Eddie Howe
He's
with that
Mark
crop of
Hughes.
players.
You got to remember
It's
that.
Mark Hughes.
He's
He's
Mark-
much better than Mark
Hughes.
Hughes.
All right, let's put it differently then.
Mark Hughes is a
It's
poor
similar.
manager.
It's similar. No, he wasn't. He
No.
did well at Blackburn. Yeah, he's a decent manager.
No,
Decent
he's
manager.
rubbish.
you're
Come
thinking of
on,
Christian
you wouldn't
Gross.
take him.
Yeah.
You're thinking Christian. No, you're thinking one day Ramos.
Let's put it.
When Marquis left Blackburn for Man City, Blackburn were gassed about it.
The funny thing about one day
It's like
Ramos
double
is that
Dutch, you know,
He won the trophy, didn't he?
he did win us a trophy, and Seville's team. We nicked him from Seville, and that was one of the best.
Get
teams I've
one
ever
day
seen.
Ramos, man.
Why are we going
You
on
wanna
about
talk about one day
Spurs?
Ramos?
Miles
Every
got a
fucking
point.
video.
Miles got a point.
He's better than Ten Hag.
Wanda Ramos was
You
terrible,
take
by the
him.
way.
You
Better
take
than
him.
Ten Hag.
Better than Ten Hag.
He was terrible.
Fuck
Wanda. No
off.
way. No way. I'm with
He's at
Adam
Real
on that.
Madrid.
He was rubbish. He had bad hair. as
All
well.
right, why are you talking about one day Ramos now?
Just opened the door for him and he jumped on the one day Ramos
He
train.
was bad. He was bad. Boys,
The passion for one day Ramos is insane.
okay, Eddie Howe, maybe that's the wrong way of putting it, or you could put it that way, but do you think Newcastle, he's taken Newcastle as far as they could go?
No.
They've not spent much, relatively. They haven't. The squad's really poor. When you get
And
past
he's-
No,
his
I don't
age,
think the squad's poor.
the squad's poor, man.
I
They've
would
not
rather
invested
have
as much
Tottenham's
as they
injury
should have.
crisis than Newcastle's. It's that bad.
Wait, why do you think the squad's poor? I think
I
it's
don't
a
think
good
the
squad.
squad's poor.
I think they've built.
When
They spent a lot
they've
of money.
made a
they spent it
signing,
well.
it's been fantastic.
overperforming.
Bruno's been fantastic.
Yeah,
Isaac
Trippier,
Botman, but they're still relying on Lascelles, who's arguably a championship centre back. They've still
Yeah.
got
Dominic
Longstaff, who I don't think is a top level.
Yeah, once you scratch beneath the surface, you start seeing a lot of championship players.
They're only
Exactly.
relying on Lascelles because of injuries. They're not relying on Lascelles.
Yeah, but that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because injuries
Their
happen.
squad isn't there yet for Eddie Howe to achieve
But-
what he thinks he can.
But you're not going to have 4 Botmans in the same squad, are you?
No, of
you're
course
going to have
City do,
you're going to
City
have
do,
versions
Man
of
City do.
Lascelles.
But this
But
is
what they've got at the moment is their squad that is filled with like championship level players.
Yeah.
In a year or two, you'd expect that would be Europa League
And-
players. And
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
But
you know what I
at
mean?
that point, you might want to look at bringing in a different manager.
Exactly.
But another manager from abroad or a high-profile manager going in and managing what Eddie Howe has got in front of him, that would be suicide for Newcastle.
Mourinho, Conte.
Pascal
Something
Baldini.
about
Managers.
Mourinho
Not now,
will be
not
there
yet.
one day.
Not
Nah.
yet.
Mourinho.
That
yeah.
Bobby Robson thing
Yeah.
and all that, he's going to be there. One day.
Mourinho. I wouldn't pick Mourinho because I don't think Mourinho could draw big names anymore. So I think they.
Oh, they'd all
But
want to
he-
play
they
for
I'll
got
wait till you give him a
Dybala.
checkbook with 200 million. in it.
Mourinho can draw big names.
I don't
They
know.
signed
Does a
Dybala
lot of
from
players
Juventus.
really want to play
Also,
for
it's the
Chelsea?
Premier League. It's the
big
money.
names and how, innit?
Yeah, I think it'd be
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
I think it'd be more the money, if anything. I don't think it's Jose Mourinho whose style of football. They would say,
But
okay, we want to
Jose,
play
if
for him.
Jose phones and Eddie Howe phones,
Yeah, no, but
Also, Mark, Jose Mourinho's icon. Like whether his prime is past isn't really the point. It's just being an
I
icon.
also think with players, you know how you look at it like, there's a lot of players out there that dislike him now. There's a lot of players that haven't played with him. So when they look at him, they see the winner.
Yeah.
And
But
they're
those
like,
players
I
are
want to
probably-
play for that. Like, look at Tammy Abraham. I know it might have gone a little bit different after, but he was right up his ass. You know what I mean? Like, this guy can make me a winner.
Yeah, he could draw. I'm not saying he can't draw players.
I hate his guts.
I hate his guts. I hate his guts.
He could definitely draw
I hate
players.
his guts. I hate Conte's guts.
Do you know what?
He's got
It was-
pickled,
do
he
you-
looks like a pickled onion.
Do you know what? Do you know what I found so funny? It was
Pickled
mutual.
onion.
I loved it. That you had 2 managers that openly hated you
Yeah.
whilst they were your manager.
Mate, it was unreal.
It was mental.
Honestly,
That hated the club while he was there.
Yeah. If you, I don't
Here
know
we
if
go
you-
again.
Why are we
I don't
going
know
on
if-
about
I don't know if-
Spurs
I
again?
think we need just a camera
Fucking
on
right
these
now.
two to have their little chats.
Can I just ask you though? Have you ever had a manager that hates your own guts?
Yeah,
Hates your-
Mourinho.
So you know.
Yeah,
It's a
Mourinho
weird-
hated us by the end as well. Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
we got knocked out of the Champions League and he came in with a list and went, he got knocked out of the Champions League then.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Oh wow!
He was like, wait, what?
And this is why Newcastle need to stay far away from him.
Yeah,
that
probably,
would be a bad
it's
one.
probably true because he'd come back and say, all you twats wearing no shirts in the stand, don't forget when you were in the Championship. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Respect there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
up
so-
next. By the way, we're missing out a few teams because we're getting to 10th place Chelsea, but Brighton, West Ham. What's going
They're
on
not
there?
finishing. They're not finishing in the
Oh,
Champions
so
League.
Brian's
not won a
run's
game in 2
horrendous,
months.
isn't it?
They're not finishing in
We're
the
doing
Champions
10th place Chelsea.
Yeah, currently 10th.
It's
But
Rory.
currently
Oh,
10th.
okay.
What do you think West Ham will finish above
No,
Chelsea?
it's just weird. We've gone all the way mid-table.
do you,
It's weird,
do you,
isn't
do
it?
you honestly, do you think
That
West Ham?
4-4 win for Chelsea took you to 10th.
So do you think West Ham finish above Chelsea as well? Do you think we should be talking? You think West Ham finish?
a top half finish?
No,
is
I don't think
progress
we should
for
be
you
talking
lot.
about West
I
Ham
bet
or
you
Chelsea.
£1,000 that Chelsea finish
I don't
above
bet
West
money
Ham.
on
Oh,
that.
wait.
I bet you £1,000.
Wait.
Bet
No,
money
no,
on
because
that.
you just said it. So let's see
I
if you mean it,
only
or if
play
you're
for free on Super 6.
or
I
if you're
predict scores every
you're
week.
trolling.
Trolling.
Or if you're trolling. That's what it's called, you
Look
know.
at my Super 6 app.
Trolling.
That's where I put my predictions. That's
So-
what I'm going to say.
so-
Bottled it. He's
So no.
bottled it.
So
He's
you're
bottled
saying
it.
things for effect without actually
I'll
committing
bet-
to
I'm
them.
not saying-
But you're frying a
bet
grand.
for me.
Frying
Yeah,
a
bet
grand
for
is
me.
mental in there because that
Do you know what he should have done? He should have said yes because there's no way I'm betting £1,000.
I was gonna say I'll bet for him.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Miles wants to take it on.
No,
No,
my
no way.
maximum
There's
bet
nothing wrong
is
coming top half for us.
£100.
There's nothing wrong
The-
coming top half, mate.
The reality
what's that?
is Chelsea, something has clicked at Chelsea. You can't deny it. That game against Manchester City was incredible, but it was incredible for Chelsea's application and what they were willing to do. And it's frustrating as a Spurs fan to admit it, but they are. Whatever was wrong with them at the start of the season, or maybe it was a process to get into this stage, something's clicked, and it's a worrying thing.
They're conceding a lot of goals though, which do you think is that a problem?
We're conceding.
They're a first half team.
We're sort of. I don't think that we're conceding an awful lot. Obviously,
not a lot, but the games that have come to my mind there, obviously the City game, City can score 4 against everybody. Chelsea against Arsenal, you're 2-0 up.
We nearly got 2 with 9 men.
At the moments when you need to be tight, you're not.
Yeah, I think. Look, overall, nobody would have anticipated that Chelsea get anything against City. I actually remember sitting with you boys on the club, and we looked at Chelsea's fixture list. And I think that we all concluded that aside from a Brentford win, which actually ended up in defeat, but aside from a Brentford win, we didn't see 3 points coming until we play Everton in December. So we looked at a period of maybe 8 or 9 games, and we said 1 victory. Chelsea have already accrued way more points in that. We didn't lose to Arsenal, we beat Tottenham, we didn't lose to City. And I think the nature of the City result, sometimes what you get is you get a seminal moment in the season, like a season-defining performance in a season. And I don't think that Chelsea will be the same team off the back of what we did against Manchester City. I know that Buvey can be kind of, not arrogant as such, but a 4-4 win. A 4-4 win for Chelsea. But it is that. It is a 4-4 win for Chelsea because we're playing the treble winners. They're so much better than us. They're the best team in the world. So, yeah, it is a 4-4 win. It can...
As a man of a club that does...
What is it about those performances then, Raw, that you've looked at recently and gone, we can make a push for Champions League football?
I think individual performances are so important. So our big players, like Raheem Sterling, has clearly found some motivation, and he was absolutely unplayable against Manchester City. And the triumvirate of Sterling with Cole Palmer with Conor Gallagher, that's such a neat midfield that will score a lot, defend a lot. It's got a balance of everything.
Does that feel like it's something that's sustainable because you spent a lot of money on players that I expect the ownership will be thinking, these not.
So what are you thinking? Lavia will have to play instead of Gallagher,
maybe
for example?
Modric's going to be like, they're going to want to get him
I don't
involved.
think so.
Do you fear that kind of thing?
I'd like to think that the reason that I think Pochettino is so important to the club is because he is a genuine football person. He isn't going to be a yes man to the board. He isn't part of this project of revamping football.
He's the only thing right at the club.
Yeah, I agree. And he's a football person.
That's why I feel about
I don't think he'll play the game that you're suggesting may potentially be put upon him. The big names will have to play. I think it will be a meritocracy and the right players will play. And even if it's not, if you're dropping anyone from our midfield, firstly, you're dropping Caicedo, the £100 million player. Secondly, you're dropping Enzo Fernandez, the £100 million player. Then you're dropping Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher is undroppable. He's been immense. And we've got lucky. We've got lucky on a couple of things because we tried to sell Conor Gallagher. I think we were happy to let him go to West Ham. It didn't happen. He's become one of our best players. We didn't want Cole Palmer. He wasn't the player we wanted. We wanted Elise. We wanted Smith Rowe. We ended up with Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer's a jewel in the crown. He's the best signing of the Bowley era. He's phenomenal.
The Bowley era.
He's the best thing that we could possibly that could have happened. He's probably the best thing that's happened to the club, certainly since Pochettino's appointment. So I'm feeling really positive, and I do think that we're now capable of accruing enough points. It's not going to be a huge tally. There's going to be a lot of blips along the way.
I think there's going to be a lot of drop points.
There's going to be a lot of blips along the way. But in order to finish fourth, it's not going to be. You're going to need to supersede a Tottenham team that are going to drop a lot of points. You're going to need to supersede a Villa team that are fighting a war on multiple fronts. I think it's going to cost them. European football's going to be very difficult for them. And ultimately, I don't really see why Chelsea, despite being 10th, if we can put any sort of even a semblance of a run together, we'll do it.
What I'm waiting to see is how Chelsea react after if you get a bad result, because you're flying high right now. You drew to Arsenal.
But that's what we're saying. We're saying flying high, and I know we're looking at perspective of where they were, right? But they haven't really won any. Like Chelsea was a draw, Arsenal was a draw.
So you think your trajectory is going to do this, and you're thinking, okay, we're going to kick on from drawing to beating Tottenham,
beating a team that were top of the league and unbeaten. When we beat them, they were unbeaten and top of the league.
So say you come against somebody.
I didn't tell you anything. What the loss to Brentford told you more about where Chelsea was than that Tottenham game.
God.
I think.
And Nottingham Forest.
I think.
You have to beat these sides.
I think beating the team
All
at the
Rory
top
said
of
was
the league.
they were top of the league.
Beating the team at the top of the league is always going to be
Yeah,
significant.
but he
You know, they were unbeaten.
he frames it in a way that makes his point sound really good when he's not making a good point at all.
That's
Making a terrible
It's a
point.
very good point.
It's not-
It's true though. It was
It's a
true.
great
It was true.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know what you're on
removing the
about.
most important aspects of the game that
Mate,
we imploded.
We entered that game.
You were-
hang on, we walked it when the players walked out on the pitch.
At your gaff.
At your gaff. You were top of the league, unbeaten. Right, 8 wins out of 10.
It's a big-
We walked out and
Yeah.
we were off the back of losing to Brentford.
And it was a big game for you as well, Flav, because if you did beat Chelsea, it would have been a big statement for Tottenham saying, okay, we're here.
Yeah.
But luckily we're talking about Chelsea and the Brentford the
You'd
loss
rather
to
beat in
Brentford
Brentford
was the
Forest.
point.
They'll-
When
you'd
I
rather
looked
beat
at
Brentford and
that,
Forest, surely.
There'll be more.
Those games you lost.
There'll
you
be
need
more
points.
moments like that. There'll certainly be more moments like the terrible result that we had against Villa, Brentford, whatever. You know, West Ham away was like shockingly bad performance, and those things will come. But I just think that in order to finish 4th, the teams that you have to finish above, you don't have to finish above Liverpool.
No, I hear you. I
You
hear
don't
you.
have to finish. You don't have to finish above a good Man United side. You don't have to finish above.
You will.
It's not
in
a
the
good
top
side.
4.
Even if you get there, it's not a good side though. It's a very beatable team.
Right then, it's come to that point of the debate. Anything else anyone wants to add on Chelsea just to wind him up?
Nah,
No,
there's just
no,
Chelsea's
no.
just doing what they're doing.
Right. From left to right. So Buvey, you start first.
Left to the right.
Yeah.
From the window to the wall. Uh, what's your top 4?
What
Boo?
a
The
club.
sweat
Oh,
coming
top
down
4.
my-
Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, City.
Backwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Spurs first. It's no Chelsea, no United, no
Good
Newcastle.
one, top 4.
Please,
In order.
Reverse order.
please. Revert. Revert.
All right.
Be honest.
Says Buvey. Buvey said, "Be honest." By
Mm.
the way, that's a
Tough
shout.
one. This Tottenham's
All right,
team's
Raw.
GG.
It
no,
goes like
yeah.
this. I can spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. It goes Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal.
Horrendous.
Oh, no.
It's horrendous.
Sick,
Makes
really.
me sick. But
Alright.
it's
Why say it then? You're talking it into
Mate,
existence.
Do you think how powerful do you think I am?
What? I just don't talk into existence.
Do you think that's how it works?
Yeah.
If so, okay, Tottenham get relegated. Tottenham get relegated. Tottenham get relegated. Tottenham get relegated.
It's Spurs, Liverpool. It's Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, City.
Look at that. That's knowledge right there. You
I
could learn a
think
thing or
City
two.
finished top of the league.
You could learn a thing or two.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Chelsea.
Love it.
I think Chelsea finished 5th. I like
I'll
Poch.
take
I think
it,
he comes
Chelsea.
good.
Same.
And I think United come good when players come back and might even have a title charge as well. In them. But anyway.
It goes.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry.
You know, he's still
You're
thinking
still
all that time.
thinking.
No, it goes. I've come up with it now. It goes Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Arsenal.
You spent all
You
that time
agree with
thinking about that.
Yeah.
It took you that long to agree with Rory. Jesus
Speaking
Christ.
into existence.